Whew. Hello, everybody. Hello. How is everyone today? Hope you had a good rest of their weekend. Week. Should I top go here? I think for now. Live and learn. What a banger of a song. Welcome in, Ben. Good to see you. Coming in nice and early, like as well. Subjects. Hello. Thank you for the contribution as well, Lycan. We are a quarter of the way there. Would you give a sick lemon? Lemonade. Ah. I tell you something about German sausages. They're the worst. They're the worst. How is everybody doing? Hope we're all doing good. Hope we're all doing good. And we are Yoth. We are back with Horizon Forbidden West. Fingers crossed I play this game more than twice this week. But we'll see. You know, I don't want to tempt fate. How is everyone? Hope everyone's doing good. We're back in the game. Back up and running. So this is where we left off. We did sort of chain scrape. We've done a lot of side stuff. Pretty much all the side quests we can do. Apart from like I think like some of the mini games maybe. Good. Well, that's a grin on his face, isn't it? I think we're good for food and stuff. So I literally do at this is literally head to Barren Light and get this embassy up and running. So don't do that. Don't waste travel packs. There's a literal campfire right. How is everyone? Hope everyone's doing good. Right. But yeah, I hope you're feeling a little bit better as well, Ben, by the way. Feeling a little bit better, because I know you weren't feeling too great. I'm going the complete wrong way. Shocker. Absolute shocker. Hello. Hi. Yeah, don't even worry about that. Just move on. Like you didn't see anything, just move on. Once you get past the embassy, the game will truly begin to open up. Yeah, it seems that way. From what I can see of the map, it looks...
Barren Light. Last part of the Sundom before the Forbidden West. This meant at Karja Horn. That means the embassy's starting soon.
Yep, that's how I jump off. Yep. Oh, side quests galore. Oh, hold on. Hold the phone. No, I could use my mount here, but... Boat trip. Is but us. Right there, bud? It...
Had to pick today, didn't you? Took my eyes off that rock for fuck.
Hey, what happened here?
What do you care?
Don't you?
As it happens? No. You know, I was already having a crappy day, and now these two idiots picked my shift to climb the damn mountain. Wouldn't be so bad if this one weren't so heavy.
Wait, 2 idiots?
Did I stutter? Yeah, 2. Heard another one shouting up top. Sounds like they got caught between sharp claws and a sharper fall.
Well,
Someone's in trouble. Aren't you gonna do something?
Self-inflicted. And I got my hands full with this one.
You're seriously not going to help.
You seriously are?
yeah, because it's Aloy and she helps everybody.
At the top of the cliff. I better get to climbing.
Hold. We're not doing main story right now. Hold, everyone. Hold. Please stay calm. I want to get all the XP and skill points as early as possible. I can set myself up for endgame. If and when we get to that point. Like I always say with RPGs, I'm always one for putting in the work early to get to reap the rewards later on. I know I'm like some side quests are level 7 and I'm level 8, but nice to never be too safe. Know where I'm supposed to go. Oh, I'm going the right way at least.
Get away from me, you bucket of balls!
Oh, that is good. Oh, wing. Yeah.
It's not gonna back down.
Oh, hello. Damn, these.
Trap that awesome up here.
Okay. Yes. Not gonna lie, my bow is already like. My bow is nasty. Normal hunter bow. Like it's doing really good damage already. Well, especially on the burrowers anyway. Can you just hold? Oh, right, you're there. Okay. Hold fire for about a minute, just while I loot everything. Need all this. Sell and loot and sell and loot. Get nice things. Right, okay. Yeah, your buddy's like dead.
Are you hurt?
I live. My so-called bodyguard. You see him on your way up?
Yeah, he's like.
It was hard to miss him. He's dead.
Oh. Guess that's what I get for believing in the first chuff in the tavern who said he was a mountain-climbing machine hunter. At least I don't have to pay him now.
What are you doing up here?
I mean, that's one way of putting it, I suppose.
A signal tower. The mechanism uses a special lens, which in some very specific circles is highly valuable. And since the Karja are planning on tearing them down, I was going to liberate the lens before it got destroyed. You get it for me, and the lenses from the other towers. I'll make it very worth your while.
I got one already?
I already found some.
Can I say?
Well, look at that. Looks like
Yeah.
you're quite the opportunist too, eh? Let me take these off your hands then. This should be a nice reward for your efforts.
See? This is what happens when you do side quests.
Thank you.
You get extra.
Aloy.
Reyna. Well, Aloy, as soon as I'm up for it, I'll be going back to Barren Light.
Joy, the rain's come back again.
But I'll stick around in case you want to get me that lens up this tower here. No
Well,
pressure. Just saying. Promise it'll be worth it.
since I'm here, you know.
See what I can do.
Lens of afternoon removed. The signal lens. Okay, I need to use that all because gameplay. And that is a way in, I think.
Okay. I'm in.
Halo's like, I'm in. I'm inside. My God. That was not what I wanted to do, but... Full... Boink. Get through the gap. Oh wait, did I check you out, Lycan? My apologies. How have the streams been? Like, I've seen you live a couple times. Try to hang out when I can, especially when it's like, say, Resident Evil or whatever.
I really busting up this place.
Fine, Aloy. It's fine. Getting a lens, remember? Or something. I don't know. Oh, come to mama. Oh, yes. That's right. Oh, I could have pressed circle. That's no. Oh, can't, Aloy. I should have pressed X, and I didn't. Okay. Oh. I've been playing too much First Ascendant. I'm pressing X to do things. Triangle.
One of the signal devices. Should be a lens I can grab for Reyna. Got the
Ends of
lens.
evening.
I can trade it with Reyna the next time I see her.
Need the wrap up the rapple.
Have to get a healer to look at his ankle. Damn. Probably gonna cost. Did you find the lens?
I did.
If you're ready to trade.
Ha! Let's deal.
Here you go.
Isn't that a sight? And here's a little something for your troubles.
You know
Now,
what I
if you
get.
find any more of these, make sure to come find me at Barren Light.
Right.
You got it.
See you around.
We've already got 2. How many are there? Oh, wow! You get some nice stuff. Well, I've got skill point. Let's go. Weapon stamina. Yes, give me weapon stamina. Spread blast. That's bolt blaster. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, you can get techniques with your hunter bow. Oh, yeah. I want to try and get that next. Like plus and it has duration. Okay. Oh. Oh, another blocked path. No, I don't want to do that. Wait, what is that? Oh, it's a hunting ground. Oh, another signal tower. Okay. Oh, they're gonna show me signal towers now. That's nice. There more than that? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 I've missed. At least. That's a long way fucking down. Whee! Worth it. That's worth it. Oh, burrowers can slide. Swim.
I'll dry off. Eventually.
Hi. Hi. Yeah, I know you can swim underwater. I mean, was it last stream we did a that little mine side quest, the mine side quest where we swam and stuff. Aware of that. That is a nice feature of this game. You can actually, you can swim underwater. Find more things. Okay, right. Let's mosey on back to the other side quest that I found. I wonder if is it just this area? Because it would kind of make sense with the Karja. Bit of a dickhead. I'll go do one at this point. There we go. Wasn't too far. See, my mount is my trusty Strider is still there. Just no one shot it.
Alright, I should find whoever's in charge here. First, I could resupply at my stash. Might be worth taking a look around.
Hello.
Savior, tell me, are you seeking passage into no man's land by any chance?
Maybe. Why do you ask?
Well, to hammer it plain, there's treasure.
Yeah, never assume was just surface. Yeah, it was just a surface level feature. You could like swim, but you couldn't dive.
Salvagers that knows the lay of the land.
You can properly dive.
The Tenakth?
Terrified, but I carry out most of my business in no man's land. Neutral territory and all that. Barren Light is our port of entry. When its doors aren't closed for an embassy. I was hoping your arrival meant they might be opening soon. I've got a business to run, after all.
I want that embassy to happen as much as you do. Believe me, I'm working on it.
Good to know. And keep us in mind. If you do manage to open the way,
Because you're going to swim on the surface at the end. On a surface level. Yeah. Sponsored by Microsoft.
And if you're looking for machine parts, we've got the best in the West.
If you know, you know.
Guaranteed.
All right. Maybe later then.
If you could get those blasted gates open.
Alright, we get the point, dude. We get the point. Go and find
I'm not the only one who wants to get.
group salvages. Oh, right, okay, that's his salvage camp is.
Gates open.
Okay. Oh, someone's machine strike. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, Raina. There's Raina. Goods, food. Probably worth checking with everybody. I think I've got 2 food already, so. Like I thought a cutscene happened. I was like, ah! I was like, I'm not ready. stash. Hello. Ooh, okay. Swift warrior bow. Okay, so that's like a crossbow. Okay. Explosive blast sling. Ooh, okay. Explosive rope caster. Slicing shredder gauntlet. What the fuck is that? Shredder, also TMNT reference. I do say so myself. So what I got in my... So I got a shock trip caster.
Be safe and come back soon, Huntress.
A frost blast sling. A hunter bow with poison... acid round. Arrows, not round. And then you got... And I got a fire bow with acid rounds as well. And I have a spike thrower. Okay. I've got fire, ice, lightning, and acid available to me at the moment. I think I'm okay with what I have. I don't really need to buy anything. Just more the case of like, oh, if it's there, it's... Oh, I can't do any upgrades. I did all the upgrades Friday. Quest. Okay.
Where's Erend? Looks like he's had a few.
Savior, you're my last hope.
Conover. She's Meridian's savior, not yours.
It's just Aloy. What do you want?
Please, no one will listen. But the Eclipse... They're here in the Daunt.
Really, Conover? Aloy's the one that defeated them. You're bothering her with this hogwash now?
Some of them must have fled west after the battle at the Elite. I saw one of our sentries, Loravik, sneaking off to meet with one. I tried to eavesdrop, but they spotted me. And then Loravik tried to kill me. I fought back. It was him or me.
Unfortunately, there's no hard evidence that connects Loravik to the Eclipse. And since
Been to the
Conover
Stitcher?
doesn't
Oh no, I
like
need to go to
killing
the
a
Stitcher,
fellow
yeah.
soldier, Nozar sentenced him to death.
What makes you so sure Loravik was working with the Eclipse?
Well, I was too far to hear everything. But I heard them both say the word Eclipse.
It's not the most outlandish claim I've heard, but it's up there.
Crying Eclipse is a convenient way to dodge a death sentence.
If I have to die, so be it. But if we ignore this threat, others are going to die too.
The meeting you witnessed. Did you hear anything else about their plans?
No.
To be honest, with these kind of side missions, I just kind of want to get them and just kind of...
A dozen soldiers have already searched it, Conover. There's nothing there.
I can see things others can't. If the Eclipse are in the Daunt, I'll find them.
Thank you, Aloy. Sun bless your search.
Don't get your hopes up, soldier.
Don't get your hopes up. Just... He is over there. Oh, I want outfits. Give me outfits. Where's the guy? Nice. Nora Sentinel? Ooh. And no changes in terms of outfits. But I think we're okay. So herbalist. Fine on. We've got plenty of food. Go find Erend. There he is. Buddy. Yeah, he looks pissed.
Gentlemen,
That's our cue.
It's like, we're going.
Taking the edge off?
Well, if the end of the world's coming, I don't be sober for it.
Okay.
Now let me guess. You're in a rush, right? So whatever you need, ask away.
How have you been?
How have things been since I...
Your silent departure? Yeah, not bad. Vanguard's going strong. Helped Avad pick up the pieces after the battle with the Eclipse.
Yeah. I think my outfit's already fully upgraded.
Bury Ursa in the claim. But when I got back, I got the assignment to babysit Voidis on his way to the embassy. I thought that'd be a cakewalk, so of course things went sideways.
You got blindsided. Wasn't your fault.
A couple more of these, maybe I'll believe you.
I was, wondering if you were able to lay Ursa to rest, like you wanted.
Yeah, we did. Just seen the crowd that showed up to pay their respects. Half of them owed her a favor, and the other half owed her their lives. In the end, everybody drank. You know, it's the rowdiest funeral since ever.
Because that was Aaron's sister, wasn't it?
Yeah, damn straight. Damn straight. She would have put them all onto the table.
Oh.
What do you know about the embassy?
Oh, you know, not much. Only that Avad really wants it to happen. He said I'm making peace with these Tenakth. But from what I hear, they're not too big on the whole diplomacy thing. They do most of their talking with blades and arrows. So if you're heading their way, be prepared. Things might get ugly real fast.
I'll keep in mind. What do you know about this place?
Well, nothing good. It's where the Karja dragged all the captives they took from the Forbidden West during the Red Raids.
Oh.
Lucky ones became slave labor. The rest were hauled off to the Sun Ring and Meridian.
Your sacrifice.
You got it. Tenakth made sure to wreck the place before they chased the Karja out of the West. I can't say I blame them. And now Avad's paying the Osram to rebuild it. And no matter how much new stone they put up, it'll still be stained in blood.
Only so much you can undo, right?
I better get going.
Right, I'll have to do complicated Aloy things. Maybe just don't disappear completely this time.
No promises.
I guess what I'm really trying to say is, if you ever do need me...
I know where to find you. Hopefully sober next time.
Don't count on it.
Oh.
Be careful out there, Aloy.
Oh. Okay.
Lighten up, Paiv. You've got a thick wall of stone between you and the Tenakth out there.
Are you in charge around here?
Apologies, no. That would be Commander Nozar. I'm Lawan, his second in command. So, what brings Aloy of the Nora to Barren Light?
I'm here for the embassy. I need it to happen so I can head west. And maybe now that Studious Wadis is here, we can finally get things underway.
Yes, the Sun Priest. Walked in practically kicking and
I
screaming.
like his
behind
outfit, by the way.
escort. Really seems to like his scrolls. But the embassy remains delayed. Commander Nozar has signaled our readiness, but the Tenakth marshals have yet to sound their horn.
Oh.
All right, fine. Let me through the gates then. I have my own business with them.
I'm sure you do, but I'm afraid I can't. Commander's orders. Normally, the gates are open for any who dare to venture out. Oseram salvagers, a few especially brazen Karja, but no one's allowed in or out before an embassy. They'll reopen, once the Tenakth have left.
Okay then, so we gotta...
What happens at these embassies, exactly?
Mostly trade and negotiation. The Karja offer tribute of
You like the purple and red outfit? I do like it. Very posh. And...
effects taken from Karja soldiers that fell during the Red Raids. This particular embassy, however, is a special case.
Because the Tenakth are handing over some sort of prisoner, right? A soldier named Fashav?
So you've heard.
Yeah, the Sun
The
King.
exchange has got everyone on edge. You never know if an embassy's going to go well until it's practically over.
You said something about Tenakth marshals. Who are they?
They're the tribe's elite warriors. Before every embassy, they arrive with a contingent of soldiers from each of their 3 clans. Then, during the proceedings, they negotiate on behalf of their leader.
What do you mean?
And by negotiate, I mean stare down our sun priest until they concede. Maeve over here came face to face with them for the first time at the last embassy. Came back drenched in his own sweat.
It was hot that day, sir.
It was.
He's like, it was. Oh, I'm not crying. You are.
Where is this Commander Nozar then? If he's the one keeping the gates shut, I'll convince him to open them for me.
I'll take you to him, but I have to warn you. The commander isn't one to break protocol, especially when he's already high-strung.
We'll see about that.
Seems nice enough.
This way.
There's a lot of activity going on around here.
The Tenakth tore down this place during the Red Raids. 2 years of labor, and we still have a long way to go. The work stoppage and chain scrape nearly halted our rebuilding efforts. But I hear a certain Nora got them back to work.
I was just helping out.
Yes, well, I'm sure Ulvin was thrilled.
He was practically seething by the fact that I did that. But you know, beggars can't be choosers.
Stand aside, soldier. Sir?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about me jumping really high in the air.
There's the commander. Better brace yourself. And good luck.
He's like, I warned you. You.
Alas, it is not our place. How are we to hold an embassy with a tribe that can't even govern their own people?
Oh, hi.
What more can you expect from barbarians?
Ah. Aloy, was it?
Yes. The one who cleared the valley for you? That Aloy.
We appreciate your service. At least we are ready for the embassy to begin.
Didn't you just give the signal?
Both sides must signal readiness. Until the Tenakth sound their horn, we wait.
Yea, for as the first shall be kept.
Shut up. Why the delay?
The Tenakth are a tribe composed of 3 clans. How many banners do you see?
You're just gonna wait? Go find out what's wrong.
Oh, this isn't some forgotten corner of the East where you come from, Nora. It's the Forbidden West. If you don't like it, run back to Meridian, file a complaint.
The Meridian I saved, you mean?
That's right. Nobody walks to the gate until the 3rd clan arrives and the Tenakth horn has sounded. Not even the savior of Meridian.
Well, I'm going now.
Well, thanks, but I've waited long enough. It's time to
Absolutely not. This embassy depends on diligent adherence to... You shall not!
keep telling yourself
That's...
that.
Shall not pass? Oh. Oh, it's Val. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Yeah, they're gonna be teamed to charge her. Hi.
Open the gates, please.
Do not let her through that gate! That is a direct order!
Sorry, can't do it.
I'm asking nicely.
I don't know what to do.
Hey, Var.
Hi, Aaron. What's happening?
You know, the usual. Aloy wants something. People trying to stand in her way. It's not gonna work.
It's not gonna...
Arrest her!
I'd like to see you try.
Supporting fire?
Yeah, I'm locked and loaded. Hey, Nozar! You stupid bastard. You think you got the authority to keep that door shut in the savior of Meridian's face?
Face.
What do you think Sun King Avad is gonna do when he hears what you did? Promote you, huh? Let it through, boys. Saving the world.
Yeah.
Forget something back in Meridian?
Look, Varl.
It doesn't matter. Made it just in time.
Oh. Here we go. Aloy and Val. Saving the world, baby. Let's go.
So this tribe that Murad told us about, the Tenakth, we need their permission to go west?
Yeah, well, I figured it'd be nice if they weren't trying to kill me the whole time.
But this embassy hasn't started yet. We're just gonna barge in?
There's no more politics. No more delays.
Oh
Yes.
well. Now at least you have some backup.
Now I have some backup at least.
We'll see how it goes.
Oh, are they there? Are they? Hi. We come in peace. Hi. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hi. This is gonna go well, right? This is gonna...
That is the line between East and West. Cross it and die.
Hold on now. Let's take it easy.
None may walk this valley until our signal sounds. That was our accord with the Karja.
I'm not Karja. I came here on my own to ask for rite of passage.
But they opened the gate for you, did they not? What is the meaning of this violation?
Why send a child? Do they want to parley or not?
The Karja can't be trusted. This is known.
Forget the Karja. This has nothing to do with them. I need to go west to save lives. Maybe even yours.
The only lives you can save are your own. By turning back. Now.
Hold!
Ooh.
She's telling the truth about one thing. She's not Karja. She's a Nora from the Savage East. And if she seeks to save lives, should we not listen? Let me speak to her. One last favor for a fellow marshal before he's taken away. A fearless, red-headed Nora.
You're more just quiet? Okay.
Called Savior of Meridian.
Just Aloy.
I am unyielding for Shav. Once of the Karja High Command, last of the army of the setting sun. You'll have to forgive my comrades. Tensions are high. This embassy is a delicate affair. They're about to return me to the Sundom, a gesture that might help soothe painful grievances. And now you arrive, unheralded.
I'm not here to cause trouble. I just need to go west.
So you say. I might be able to help, but I need to know why. Along with some assurance that I won't regret it.
Well, let me ask about your tattoos, mate.
I've never seen markings like those on a Karja before.
The Karja see ink as decoration. For the Tenakth, it is much more. A litany of deeds. A record of vanquished enemies.
Looks like you've vanquished quite a few.
I've fought my share of battles. But I feel that my life, like my markings, is only half complete. This side shows my martial deeds. Before I die, I'd like to see the other half marked with the laurels of peace.
That's good. Oh. Spam detected. Good one. Oh well, it's fine. Robot's doing its thing.
How did you come to be among the Tenakth?
It's quite a story, but not a quick one. Though I suppose neither of us is going anywhere before the embassy begins. Are you sure you want to hear it?
Yeah, go on then.
I guess we have time.
Very well. I marched with Sun King Jiran's raiders when they came west, hoping to moderate their worst impulses. I failed. atrocities, stirring the Tenakth into action. When the clans overran our forward encampment at Cinnabar Sands, I stayed behind to help the last stragglers evacuate, and was taken prisoner. I didn't make it easy for my captors, mind you. And they paid me back in kind on the journey to their capital. I lost so much blood on the way that I was white as a corpse when they threw me before Chief Hikaro. I thought I was dead for sure, so I resorted to desperate measures.
So when you met the Tenakth chief, you did something desperate.
I kept
The game on Steam right now, you actually really want to look ridiculous, called Angerfoot. That's interesting.
By combat that they revere. So, when they flung me at Hikaro's feet, I demanded this right, called the Kurut, thinking that by winning I could request a boon, my life or even my freedom. The other Tenakth howled, but Hikaro stared them down, and then his gaze fell upon me.
I was watching a bit of the stream of the team, and the game would have a lot quieter than.
Appreciated my ingenuity.
Oh, okay. Actually, I pumped it up a little bit now, so hopefully it's a bit more louder for you.
Little did I know what I was in for.
I think I've heard enough for now.
As you wish.
You asked why I need rite of passage.
Evolve Digital game that they've dubbed a booter shooter. Oh, wow.
My answer. 6 months ago, the world almost ended in Meridian. That threat still exists. It's getting worse every day, much worse. Calling down storms, poisoning the water, enraging the machines. The source of it all has gone west, and I'm the only one who can stop it.
I've seen the signs. And I've heard tales of incredible occurrences in Meridian, an army of demons vanquished by a red-haired champion. So I'm inclined to believe you. The burden of your task is written across your face clearer than any mark of mine. I'll grant you this, to serve as proof of your right to travel into Tenakth lands. A task so important, and it's just the two of you. Take it from one who aspires to be a diplomat. Allies are essential. Chief Hikaro knows the West better than anyone. He may be able to help you. He can be intimidating to others, but don't let that deceive you. He is a man of his word.
I like him. He's cool.
If I need him.
Your choice. You can find him at his palace, past the mountains to the southwest. Tell him I sent you, and he'll listen to
Look! The Sky Clan's banner.
Fucking finally. Jesus Christ. They're quite cool looking, color and stuff.
Marshals. It wasn't easy, but I brought the Sky Clan with me.
And the commander?
No. I could only convince a few. He isn't yet aware we left.
We have banners from all 3 clans. If there are fewer from the Sky Clan, it can't be helped.
He's right. Sound the horn.
Oh.
Not all Tenakth can stomach the idea of parley with the Karja, but enough have come for us to begin.
Then I'll be on my way.
No, the other marshals will not permit it. You wanted safe passage, you have it. After the embassy.
Guess we gotta go back and wait then.
The Karja have opened the gates.
Well, this is gonna turn ugly, isn't it? Exactly. Actually looks ridiculously fun. I'll have to have a look at it later. Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, he is cool. I like him. I know, obviously, he's the one that's going to be traded across, isn't he? Surprise! It's not what it seems. He looks very confident.
As the sun rises over a land at war, so too can it set over a land at peace. Today is such...
Oh.
Hear me, marshals! You who claim to be Tenakth!
Oh.
Regala. Chief Hikaro's biggest mistake. A rival whom we should have killed.
You have forgotten that our people were born in blood. The blood of
So it's basically civil war.
Instead,
Nice.
you
Cool.
pledge your spears to a chief who conspires with the enemy. Hikaru has betrayed us. The embassy is proof. And all of you marshals are his accomplices.
Like her though. She's cool.
I condemn you to death.
Gives me like Rhea Ripley
More than
vibes.
toothless threats to intimidate us. Exile.
Civil War? Where's Iron Man? Oh shit. You got like a dragon thing. Okay. Where's Iron Man? Where's Captain America? Junker Queen. Sorry. Oh shit. Oh shit. We got some backup.
They're riding machines.
Where'd they learn to do that?
Silence.
Vashav, come with us now, or not at all.
Archers, light them up.
Will I shoot them? Do I shoot them? Am I going to shoot them? Yeah, don't just stand there. Oh, yeah, you're dead. Yep, dead.
Archers, keep them back.
Well, we're kind of fucked, because we're literally in the crossfire, and we have no room. Angela Bassett. Oh, Charlotte's one of them Black Panther movies. Nice. Oh, she's got a very familiar voice. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's not going to end well. It's not going to end well.
They're not gonna make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Open the gates! Open the gates! Open the gates!
I mean, to be fair, I'm not mad that he's dead.
Stand your ground!
Yeah. She's been around. Yeah, long time.
Fire at will!
Yeah, now that you've said it's Charla's mother.
Don't have a shot!
Oh, nice. Oh, not nice. Yeah, Aloy, are you gonna like... Are we gonna like help, or are we just gonna stand here? Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Oh, he's gonna die in this. Oh, no. I don't want him to die. Really? Oh, no, he dead. Oh, he dead. He dead. He dead. Well, so much...
What happened? Can you see?
It's just us now.
Hey, calm down and fight fair. Lancers, take the center. Get ready.
Oh, we got somebody left. 4 people. Kill the rebels. Rebel scum.
Cover! Archers on the ridge!
Rebel scum. Sorry. I just have Star Wars in my head. Get fucked.
Concentrate your fire! Take this ammo! Whoa!
Check on them.
Fuck out. Yeah, vengeance for Vashav or something. Cube. Oh, human kill, let's go.
We've got to stop those riders!
No shit, Sherlock. Oh, nice. Oh.
Pain subsided.
Okay. Scum. Can't not have Star Wars in your mind and say Rebel Scum. I mean, true. Oh. Oh, what a shot! That's a hell of a spear throw. Well, you're dead, probably. I don't know. Oh, no, it's nice. Oh, yeah, you might want to move that. Or not.
Just you and me now, Bo.
We've survived worse.
Yeah, we've definitely survived worse, right? Oh, headshot. Thank you very much. Oh, acid. Hold on. A lot of point, that's a lot of acid. Right. Right. Oh, whoa. Critical strike. No. Oh. Critical strike. There we go. Oh my god. I mean, this is fine, right?
Enough! You, Outlanders! I'll skin you both!
All right, Borderlands mini boss. Come on. Come on. I mean, yeah. Look, bring one of him, and then just.
Granted.
Fun. I'm gonna take you to school, motherfucker. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. Val's just like. Yeah, just stay down, dude. Just stay down, Val. Just stay down, please.
You're next, girl.
I've never seen a shield like that. Better scan it. I can break through his shield if I damage it. Gotta get through his shield. There, now's my chance.
Let him, you live and dumb some bitch.
Give it up. His shield's regenerated.
That's fine.
Need to break his guard.
You only come to tap the shield.
Shield's gone. He's vulnerable.
Oh. Oh. Son, you're about to die. Get wrecked. I'll search you. Oh. That. No applause? Oh.
Your turn.
was an honorable challenge. You've earned your life today. Comrades, mark this day. Today you have decimated
and
the
spawns
Marshals,
everybody.
slaughtered the Karja.
Mm-hmm.
So begins our war on Hikaru.
That's going to be part of the main story, isn't it? The war, probably. I'd imagine. Helping the war chief. All right, that was eventful. I hope to God we can loot all of this. I really do.
Get him to the camp now.
You gonna make it?
That was I know I shouldn't laugh, but the way Paul is just like with his spear, he's just like, oof, and he just gets kicked in the chest. Oh fuck! Yeah, his arm was destroyed. It was.
I'll take you back to the fort.
Oh, there's
I got you.
So who's going to be charged now then? Oh, I guess the second in command guy probably. I'd imagine. The following day. Oh look, it's him. I spoke to him and he's like, "Yeah, you can go now. We can leave."
It's salvage time, boys.
All right, this is it then. Our true journey into the Forbidden West. Oh, that's the guy. Yeah. Rip that up. Oh. Oh, let's go. We got a shield now.
Take a hit. I should be able to use it to glide.
Oh, let's go. We can glide now. Oh, let's go.
Aloy,
Hello.
we're still trying to sort out this mess.
I can imagine.
Seems like the Tenakth have a civil war in their hands.
That sounds about right. The Marshals weren't expecting Regala to attack.
And the entire Karja delegation was slain. Nozar, Voidis, Peshav. A massacre. What will you do now?
I have to head west. Hopefully this rite of passage is still good. For what I'm after, I'll cross all of Tenakth territory if I have to.
Then you have a long road ahead of you. This is only the threshold of the Forbidden West. The Tenakth's true domain lies over the mountains that border Plainsong, home of the Utaru tribe.
This isn't Tenakth territory?
All that out there? That's no man's land. It was supposed to be neutral ground, though obviously this Regala ignored that. Our rebels approached from the north, with all those machines they were riding. They must have made camp up that way.
The rebels were riding bristlebacks. And there were bristlebacks in the Daunt.
Are you saying the rebels let them into the Daunt? How would that even be possible?
I don't know. But it's worth looking into.
While you're at it, there were a number of Karja and Oseram who went out there before the gates were shut for the embassy. Maybe you could check in on them. See if they're all right.
I can keep an eye out. Is there a tall neck somewhere nearby?
A tall neck? There's that one, over there, near the Utaru border. But why?
It's hard to explain.
Yeah, just.
It'll help me get the lay of the land.
If you say so. Is there anything else I can tell you before you go?
I want to go exploring. I want to go exploring.
The gates will always be open to you should you wish to return.
Can we go back to Meridian at this point? I don't think you can we?
And don't worry about your friends. We'll get them patched up.
I appreciate it.
Sun watch over you, Aloy. I hope you find what you're looking for.
I'm glad he didn't die yet. Okay, right. So we're nearly level 10. We are so close to level 10. Okay. Let's scan and grab everything.
I'll need these later, for sure.
The shield wing is an energy-based glider repurposed for machine technology. Hold square while in the air to deploy an air glide and glide. Tap circle to stop gliding. So basically the hang glider from Breath of the Wild. Love that.
So, this is the Forbidden West. A whole new frontier to explore. The coordinates from the spire should lead to Silence and Hades. And just maybe, a backup of Gaia. It won't be easy out there. The Blight, the Storms, Regalla's machine riders. But I'll have to push through it all. Find a way to fix the world. Like Elizabeth would. The woman who led the ambush, Regalla.
We got Shadow from the past, go to the clearing. Salvage, bristlebacks. Well, 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 I didn't take you for rushing headlong into the unknown type. Oh, behave. Is- Oh, there was the... Oh, right, the guy in the prison. Okay. Oh, so the rebel camps now are... Yeah, it's going to be Regalla's crew. Okay.
A lot of machines under her command. There's only one other person who has that kind of knowledge. Silence.
Dun, dun, dun.
Why help to knock the rebels?
I feel like Silence is like an Ascian of 2014. He's just kind of like a puppeteer. He's pulling the strings of other people, whispering sweet nothings and making them fight each other, so that he can get what he wants. He's not doing it for anybody else's gain apart from himself. No, that's the vibe I get from him. I'm looking forward to see you do the tallnecks in this game. Oh yeah, we'll definitely do the tallnecks because I want to unlock the map. Definitely doing the tallnecks. Oh sure. It'd be fun though, because before it was like you have to like find an area to place to get onto it and then go from there. Find it or made it a little bit. A cleanse potion. Ooh, nice. A lot of I killed a lot of things. A lot of things were killed.
Good spot to test the shield wing. If I climb down, then I can glide.
Hey, well, gliding's going to be an absolute godsend. Right, let's grab this campfire over here. Okay. Ooh, we can breathe a little bit. Okay. So, skills. We've got 3 skill points. I want to do... Resonate a blast. Strike. Energize duration. Concentration. Concentration depletes more slowly, prolonging use. Valor on impact. Gain valor when hit by enemies. Potent medicine. Ooh. Low health regen. Potion potent. Recover health when using Silent Strike. That could be handy. Melee attacks are quieter, reducing the chance of being detected by nearby enemies. Recover weapon stamina faster. Yeah, we'll go. Let's activate that quest. Head back. Oh, that's not fun. Let's go do. Let's just start. I'll listen for that. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, hello. Okay, so there it is. Let's go. But yeah, we've now sort of not the game, but like salvage. If I can get through those 3 quests a little bit, that would be appreciated. Oh, let's unlock the hunting ground, just so we've got the campfire for it.
I have to go on foot from here.
Come on. Use that tripcaster I gave you here.
Carja reopened the hunting ground south of Chainscrape there. I think I'll unlock them first, and then I will fight them. Because before the hunting grounds were for a quest line. So, that is the same thing, then cool, but I'll leave it for now.
Looks like trouble.
One shot.
Oh, that was fun. Now I need to investigate the clearing. This must be the clearing where Conover says he saw the eclipse. Bloodstains. It's a good place to start as any.
Well, that's a lot of blood. A lot of blood.
Pretty sure this is where Conover killed that guard. Maybe my focus can tell me if there really was a third person here. I see plenty of tracks from the Karja search party. Not helpful. Broken branches. Was someone up here?
What thickeneth.
Faint tracks. Leading away from barren light. I should be able to follow them with my focus. Let's see where this leads.
Alright, let's go.
Conover wasn't lying after all.
If we can get solid evidence, then he's probably free to go.
Lost the trail. There's too many machines walking around.
Sneak past or
Maybe I
kill
can
the
pick up
machines.
Tracks once I'm past them.
Oh. Oh.
This will be in my stash when I need it.
Oh, no, no, no. You didn't see me. Didn't see me, buddy. Oh, oh, he's scanning. Really? Can I not silent strike? Oh. Fucking say, I was like, Jesus. Like, right behind it. Level 10, let's go. Oh, I got 2 skill points that time. Let's go.
Should be easy to follow the trail up ahead now.
Let's go. I got 132. Have I got 132 medicinal berries? That's funny as fuck if I have. Cash. Why is it there? Yep. By the end of the game, you'll end up having way over 1,000, probably. So. It all is blurred. Blood and darkness. As one Princess Agrius would say.
Whoever the runner was, this machine must have slashed him. Should be easy to follow the bullet trail with my focus.
Right.
Looks like we're headed for that bridge.
Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. Yeah, I think it's going to be like, from what I can see now, it's like, oh, hey, you go over here, enemies. Oh, it's over here, enemies.
Someone set up a lookout down here.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bandages. Looks like the runner tried to treat their wounds before they went on. I should be able to follow their tracks. Where did you go off to?
Old buddy, old pal.
Can my focus see anything?
Following the track, don't worry. I remember from Zero Dawn that getting wildlife is a good thing because that's how you get like pouch upgrades and stuff. So, and if I'm not mistaken, the unlimited fast travel pack was through murdering wildlife. Oh, a fire fang horn.
Looks like the one's here.
Weak to ice. Oh. I'm a lock and load, motherfuckers. Oh! Call me fucking Deadshot. Jesus Christ. One thing about this is in New Game about New Game Plus is that everything in your stash will carry over, so you end up getting more and more resources. Oh, that is good. That is actually really good. Yes, you have more resources from the get-go.
The trail ends here. Must have climbed up to that cave. With that injury, I'll bet he's on his last legs.
Oh, right, yeah. Oracle, Aloy, Hawkeye. Yeah, that's that as well. Oh, she can be Kate Bishop. There you go.
Thought a dyer would be interested in this.
Accurate, I suppose.
This looks like a good place for someone to hide.
What do you mean? Yeah. Not bad. Oh, engine crate. Oh, ancient black bracelet. Oh, is it a Rolex? That sells for a bit, Aloy. A bit. You might want to keep hold of that. Well, that's not good.
Larvik's dead. He hasn't shown at the rendezvous point, so either that fool guard killed him, or he's lost his nerve. We'll just
that is Eclipse, all right.
And then what? Rayad was our only link to Vezra, and now he's dead too.
We'll track Vezra if we have to. But first we have to get past Barren Light. Next change of guard, we go in fast and loud.
Conover was right. I have to stop them before they hurt anyone else.
Shit, here we go again. Kill the Eclipse. That's two. One of the many sellable items, yeah. I figured it's normally if it's like ancient. Oh, what, it wasn't a headshot? Oh. want that him. There we go. Nice. That was right on the nose.
Takes care of that. But I'm sure there's more of them outside. I gotta be careful.
Oh, what a shot. That's the one, isn't it? I don't... Oh, of course you had a hat, didn't
Hey!
Yeah, you're not gonna like... Oh. Oh, has he noticed? Oh, there's your neck. No, you're dead. Sorry, you're dead.
And that takes care of that.
5,000 XP that
Sounds
was.
like there's more eclipse beyond the Daunt.
Fuck.
If this Rayad was the only link to them, he might have a focus. You could tell me where they are.
Holding it, let's fucking go. Oh, right, yeah.
I'm guessing that's Rayad. Blood trail must have been his.
Boom.
People are out trying
Boom.
to get here. I was right. Rayad has a focus.
What I like about this game is that since that they separate what each item is in your inventory, you can easily tell what items are just for selling. Yeah, exactly. Really helps.
Loyal Eclipse. If you're seeing this, it means you've left the Sundom in search of something to follow. Your journey is almost over. Follow the sun beyond the gates of barren light. And bask in the gloam of future conquest. A new empire awaits.
Oh, goody.
I'll have to pay this Vezra a visit and crush his new Eclipse empire before it begins. There's coordinates here, up past Barren Light.
Alright. They didn't.
Ryad's mask should be enough to prove Conover's innocence. I better take it back to Barren Light.
Cool. Alright. Into Conover, so we gotta go. Oh, but I gotta find a campfire. Oh, there's one there. Okay, hang on. Whee! Down we go. Fuck your antlers.
Back in Meridian. I thought they'd do the end of it. Guess I was wrong.
Oh, cow. Hey, that was outrageous. Just chilling. Chilling. As one does, you know? Oh, I hit a weak spot. Okay, I can't use my bow. That's... Well, you, my friend, are going to explode. Oh no, you're on fire. Let me just make you on fire again. Oh, you're back. That's good stuff. That's for the picking, so... And the machine bites the dust. Got a lot of fanghorn antlers, which is good. I'm glad I'm like picking them off. I'm sure they'll be handy for, or even just to sell. Come on, let's go. Oh, actually. Eee. Save. Fast travel. Let's fast travel back. Barren Light. Like so. Nice quick loading times. Love. Go back to the... normal way. Oh.
Look alive, soldier. She's back.
Aloy! Did you find anything?
Eclipse fugitives were camped out on the other side of the forest. And they were getting ready to fight their way through Barren Light. You just helped save a lot of lives.
Aloy, you know I believe you. But the other officers, they may not be convinced by your words alone.
If they need proof, show them that. And tell them this man risked his life to expose and eliminate an Eclipse spy.
Huh. I guess you are his savior. Congratulations, soldier. You're a free man. I'll have you out of there before sunfall. I'll make sure this gets to the right people.
That's it then. The end of the Eclipse.
Almost. The trespassers you mentioned, the ones who got through Barren Light weeks ago, their leader's dangerous. And he's out there, in the Forbidden West, building up an army.
Sun and Shadow, you're going out there to stop him, aren't you?
I'm gonna try.
I want to help. I can fight.
I know you can. But you've been through a lot. Once you're out of that cell, you should enjoy your freedom. You've earned it.
Take them out, Savior.
What I do best. Don't worry about it, buddy. Okay, we've got 4 skill points. Oh, pump that into. Like healed? Yeah, I'll take. That's using a heavy. Out. Yeah, damage over machines. Blast. Deal more damage with Resonator Blast. Strike an enemy with your melee attacks. But charge tap R2 to energize you. Oh yeah, do more damage with melee attacks. Bonk. Yeah, so I think the main thing is Infiltrator for me. Infiltrator and Hunter is going to be... And then probably Warrior. That's probably my main one. Obviously Survivor will help as well with the extra health regen and medicine. Oh yeah, I can...
Thanks for bringing me that.
The west. Go to the Eclipse hideout coordinates. That's level 10. Okay, so I can do that, technically. Rebel camps. Got the Bristlebacks. Barren Light for the Rebel camp. Where'd it go? Yeah, we got the Salvage camp. Right. Let's head out. Come on, Charger.
Okay.
Let's go. Bum bum bum. Oh yeah, yeah. Aloy was like, let's use the Collider. That's fucking cool, actually. Can't lie. That is pretty cool. That is good. Well, like, oh yeah, the tonic will make things a lot easier as well.
This must be the salvagers I met in Barren Light. Looks like something's going on.
Oh. Hey, bud.
If it isn't the savior of Meridian and of my very own operation. Laren, say hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
You know, if it weren't for this one,
I like his voice.
I probably wouldn't be standing here right now.
I like a character off Sesame Street.
What the Tenakth did back at the embassy. But everyone in Barren Light is thankful you drove them off.
So this is your salvage operation.
You won't find a better place to trade machine parts in the West. And soon we'll be
Bernie?
trading in more than just that.
Bernie.
For too long, the West has been, well, forbidden. Dangerous. But what if I told you we could make an armor so tough,
Oh,
so
ultimate armor?
infallible,
Hold on, hold on.
that you'd never have to worry about survival out here again?
I'd be curious to take a look at it.
Is it the
Of course you
is it like the ultimate one that we had in Zero Dawn? We had to
That's why
find
I've asked my most talented salvagers to find
power
what
sources.
they need to make that armor. Each of them will present their work to me. The best protection will go on sale to hunters, just like you.
Lucky me.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some business to attend to back in Chainscrape. Larend can take care of you while I'm gone. Can't wait to see what you come up with, my boy.
Leave it to me. It'll blow all the others out of the forge. You have got to help me.
What are you talking about?
The armor. I made a dozen versions of it, but none of them were good enough. And there are other crews further west. If they make better armor than mine, I can kiss that keg full of shards goodbye.
So you get a prize if Karif picks your armor?
A big one. And I finally have the perfect design. I just need the right parts, and fast. So maybe you'd be willing to pick up a contract and get them for me?
What would I be looking for?
Shell walker containers.
Oh, fucking
Their
having.
plating's made to
Why
withstand
does that have to be
a lot
something
of
I've not
damage.
bumped
It'll make
into
the
yet?
Perfect armor. I know it.
I think I can handle that.
Ah, thank the forge. All right. We scouted out a herd near here. Here's the contract. It'll tell you everything you need to know. You take the machines down.
It's basically bounty
My
hunting,
people
but
will
with
pick up the
machines.
containers.
I'll give this a closer look later. Thanks.
Counting on you, Aloy.
You. Wait. So. Build a contract. Yeah, 5,000 XP. I'm Artificer. Ooh. That's all the way down there. Sky Drifter. Ooh. To the tall neck. Wait. I can travel to it? I can travel to it? I can fast travel to that? That's mental. Like, you couldn't even fast travel anywhere before. Like, when I was supposed to... No, you could actually. You could. It was up, but I think it was like only roads you could go to. I'm tempted just to fast travel to the Tornag. Fuck it.
Tarmac. If I override it, I can get...
Look, it's just my little pop. I got a campfire right here. Let's go. Oh, I thought the game crashed. I was like, please, no. But tight left, no worries. Oh, I see it, but there's also a sky drifter that's just.
Tarmac. If I override it, I can get data on the surrounding area. Looks like a satellite dish. If I can climb it, I should be able to reach that tall neck easily enough.
There
has to be a way up this thing.
Well, level 11, let's go. Oh, you little bitch. Fuck, is that the bird? That was the bird after me, isn't it? Yeah, I know, you're pissed. You're pissed. You're pissed off. Yeah. Fine. I think that's all of them. Things are not as simple as before. Oh no. I know the one in the desert was a bit of a pain because it was surrounded by freaking not glinthawks. It was like basically crocodiles.
What is that? A power generator?
But yeah, it was basically surrounded by crocodiles and it was a pain in the ass to fucking get through. Oh, I know. No, I know. You mean as in like you mean as in like overall like tall neck abilities. No, tall neck. Getting to said tall neck is harder. I can see that. But like this is the first one, and we're already getting machines surrounding it.
Console. No power though.
Minor things to come, right? Really, Aloy? That was not what I wanted you.
Things around and on the way up.
Okay. Restore power to the console. Because a good job there's not much fall damage in this game. I would have died like 3 times. Find a way to power bad boy up.
What's enough?
I've gone through the freaking ringer with the medicine pouches. Gee.
I can refill my pouch with these later.
Okay. We can destroy this.
Must have generated
Oh,
power at
yeah.
some point. That's not now.
I'm just gonna power it another way. Yeah, I probably knew that, Jax, but I just decided not to. I decided to waste my ammo. As one does. Think now, think. Down here, because I kicked this ladder down. There we go.
Power cell. Disconnected from the main power line. This should get that generator below the dish going.
Boink. Boink.
There's the generator. Bet this power cell can get it running.
Voila!
Power's back. I should check that console I found earlier.
You have to use your brain, yeah, more so, yeah, to get to the top. And they had to make it like more challenging for sure.
This thing does.
It probably was a bit too easy. Zero Dawn, but it was the first game. That rotates.
Still not high enough to reach the tunnel. Entangled with Dish. Let me climb higher.
Good. There we go. Look at that. Didn't even use my arrows either. Think of it like the Tenakth in the Frozen Wild. That one's essentially a test of what the ones in this game. Yeah, because they made you go find things to like make it work.
Looks like I might need to glide onto the Tenakth. Just gotta time it right. Wings holding up?
Oh, let's go. Yes.
There we go. Timed over.
Oh, here we go. Whee! And then and that's our first Tenakth then. We got 2 skill points for that. Let's go. Huh. Go. Yeah, I'll check in a sec. I can imagine it's. Oh, whoa. Yeah. There's Plain Song, which is the mountain that they talked about. But it is still hazy in it, so you can see things now, but still hazy. But there's a lot. River Hymn, I'd imagine, is where the chief. Maybe Plain Song, who knows? Go to the Eclipse. Oh, that's where the Eclipse hideout is. Oh, there's a cauldron. Yeah, just the one. But there is a cauldron. Far away, actually. And there's the ambush. But it's only revealed. Yeah, say that's. There's four Tenakths total. That will do 5. There's one there. Surely there's more than 2. Surely. Archer camp? And then there's the rebel camp. Oh, there's 2 rebel camps. Oh, there's a smaller one and the bigger one. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot to explore. Hence why I'm a little bit more like skippy with the some of the cutscenes. Not skippy, but like they're like, oh, do you want to talk about things? I'm like, I just want to get on with it. There's a lot to explore. Count. Go for that. Yeah, like I'll talk to characters and stuff, but like if I feel like talking to them and like if I feel like I want to like learn more of their story, then I will. But I'm not gonna do it for every single character. I know it's world building and all that, but we got a lot to get through. Wow. All right.
This isn't getting me anywhere.
Thought it was a iron flower, like a metal flower. Kill.
There's a lot of ancient wrecks out here. Must have been a huge battle. The old ones. They gave everything they had to slow down the Pharaoh swarm. To buy Zero Dawn time. Some kind of outpost. With pens. It might be where Regala's keeping her machines. Good time to pull out shock ammo.
I think the only shock ammo I have is the Now we wait. That was a stealth kill. Like, don't tell me otherwise. That was a fucking stealth kill. I'm sorry. Thank you. Off. We're dead, but well, that was a different one. Never mind. Hey, GB, how you doing, buddy? How was your stream earlier? Hope you're doing well. Hope it was good. I saw you were playing, is it Princess Peach? Oh no, I'm getting shot at. Oops. Oh. Oh.
Pens, not that many machines. Where'd they all go?
Another ad break.
Better
Apologies.
check in that cave.
Actually, I'll fill the time just by looting. Running around doing that. Yeah, it was. It's fun, but I'm aiming to beat the game this week. Ooh, nice, nice. Hope you do. A particularly long game then? I've heard about it, but not played it. Horizon's going great. It's going great. We're finally in the game. Proper. Feels like. No tutorials or anything like that. Just pure Horizon. It's going. I'm glad you enjoyed your stream. Give you a shout out. Yeah, answer done. I'll give you. It'll take me 5 minutes to loot them. Not long, it's just taken me long in the sense that I've barely been streaming it. Ah, right, okay. That's fair. That's fair. I'm terrible for getting around, like, playing games, like, way after its sell-by date, you know? I wonder how many. I bet if I looked in my stash, I bet I have so much stuff, like health potions, just absolute plethora of things. I have no business in having.
Dyer can make use of this.
Oh. Bullet? How far am I in? So in terms of, we've just done, we've basically gone out of Baron's Light. So we've just done the embassy stuff. The map. In terms of the map, we started the stream like here, and now we're here. We've kind of done. Now we're in very early on. But welcome back from the end, everybody. Quick. Yeah, still very, very early in the game. There'll be plenty of streams where I just run around and do nothing for 3 hours. Ah, there you go. Ah, it's a shortcut. Nice. Damn, Aloy's strong. Strong. Aloy do be strong. This is the kind of thing that's just easy. Yeah, it is so easy just to wander around and not do any story or any quests. It's just like, oh, I'm just going to wander over here for a bit. It's like, yeah, cool. Am I meant to get up here? Oh, I got a strong arm hunter bow. I'm going to do that. Am I meant to do that? Oh, it's a drawbridge. Hold on. Hold the phone. You didn't miss much, everybody who recognized. I was just went around looting the place because there was so many enemies.
The bridge. How to drop the other side?
Yeah.
Refreshing. I guess.
I met someone earlier this year that was a character artist in this series. Really? That's fucking awesome. Yeah, I will say the art in this game, absolutely phenomenal. So good. So good. They did a wonderful job. And this is...
There.
That is a bridge.
It's down.
That is a bridge. It was interesting hearing his experience on making Aloy work in the VR game. Oh yeah, that would have been interesting indeed. Is it called the Mount?
Bristleback. It looks like it fell into a tunnel. So the rebels were keeping bristlebacks here. The machines fell into the tunnel, which must have collapsed as they ran further in. What if Ulvin's explosives created the sinkhole? I should head back to Chainscrape to let Javad know.
The Dead Falls is... Get out of here. I need to go to a campfire. Because the game was made alongside Forbidden West. Yeah, that would have been that. Yeah, the fact that it was made alongside, very impressive. I want to head. Gone that way anyway now. So that they had to go with adapting the Zero Dawn model, but include some elements of Forbidden.
Camp in addition to those machine pens. I should see what they're up to.
Oh, wait, did I just run into that? Oh shit, bandit camp. Yeah.
Warriors patrolling the area. Gotta be careful.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were like fucking patrol. Hey, I'm not on it. Little bitch. No, 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 no. No, sir. No, si, senor. No. Okay. We're good. I know I could have lured rocks, but like... Maybe these rocks we can just shoot them. Right.
River seems to run through the camp. Maybe I can use it to get in.
Might need... Oh? Bonk. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, I'm too far away? Really? Okay. What's a shot? Just what's a shot? It's that damn good. Can't be team. Well, I can use the river to get in, so that...
This could be my way into the camp.
That's a good plan. Oh, ow, my knee hurts.
I'm losing my patience here.
This is it. If I want to figure out what's going on here, I need to find whoever's in charge.
So oh, this is one of these ones where I can't kill the leader. On alert.
Keep a tight perimeter. She'll be back.
It's me.
You've made it.
No, shut up. Why does Doctor Who carry herbs with him everywhere he goes? I don't know. Why does he? Doctor? Oh, have a word. They can demonstrate time time travel. Oh, wow, TV. That is good. I'm impressed. I just died inside, but I'm very impressed. Oh my god, they keep dying in the same place. I wonder why.
Hold still for me.
Hi. No, you hold still. You hold that, please. Right. You firing through gaps. Pepper clogs. Nope. Well, you're on fire now, bitch. Well, you're gonna die.
There goes the piece.
Huh. I forget I have this. Yep, that. I think that's everybody. I think. Oh, no. There's a couple more. On my way in, at least.
Nothing here either.
Oh no, where could Aloy possibly be? Oh, there's... Oh, I found the leader, at least. I gotta kill the leader? Okay.
Hello.
Hold my beer. I'm gonna get the bridge open. If you gotta, are you making me go over there? Are you about gonna sit everybody and their mothers way down? Oh, I think they might be. Oh, they might be coming. They might be. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Might get some action here. Might get some action.
Keep it tight, everyone! I think one of these structures is a command center.
Right. Well, it's just him. Oh, he got a shield. Oh, well, he did. Get fucked. Archer blazing. Ooh. Need some goodies.
Loyal Tenakth, hear me. I was told a soldier from this camp goaded one of the sons of Prometheus into an altercation.
Oh.
You would do well to remember that our allies are responsible for providing the machines that we shall ride to glory. The next fool who interferes with them will be eviscerated and left in the desert for carrion. There will be no second warning. Will that be sufficient?
Yeah, that should prevent your people from butting heads with mine. You have my thanks, Regala.
May our pact lead to victory.
So Regala's not
Regardless, not working alone. Okay.
These
Okay.
sons of Prometheus gave her the ability to override machines.
Okay.
Looks like they were trying to stock up on Blaze. Enough to blow up something big. A map of the Daunt. Tracking movement in and out of Barren Light. An emphasis on the fort's weak points. They're gonna blow up Barren Light. Make a hole big enough to fit an entire army. So Regala plans on invading the Sunday. At least when she gets an army big enough to do it. I have to get rid of that Blaze.
Yeah, but where is it? That's the question.
Blaze. And just a short ride from the Karja border. There's enough here to take out half of Barren Light. Unless I blow it up first.
Exactly what I'm gonna do.
Whew, just gotta shoot that Blaze. Blow it sky high.
Blow that shit sky high. Powered your cannon to do it, because why the hell not? Big ass gun. Ass explosive. Pretty good logic in my mind. Boom! Nice.
The rebels will abandon this place now. I could deal with the rest of them now.
3 skill points?
Either way, my job is done here.
I mean, they're all dead, so, you know. There's nobody here to Oh, actually, this I could use the campfire to get back to. Let's go. Ains thing. I don't know. Remember the name of the place. Ain scrape. Ain something.
So, you've returned from the west. Any luck?
The bristlebacks were being penned by Tenakth rebels on the other side of the mountains. Ulvin's explosives opened up a sinkhole, dropping them into the tunnels.
Which they followed to the mine and out into the Daunt.
Right. Aside from the rebels, if anyone is to blame for the bristlebacks, it's Ulvin.
Radiant beams of the sun. And all this time he was pointing the finger at us. Bring Ulvin here. Petra, too.
This is gonna get interesting. I didn't like that. Well, he drank it.
Summoned like a blasted ale winch. You best be meaning to put pen to parch.
Don't think so, buddy.
What? Why is she here?
I live here too, lugnut. So what's this about?
Thanks to the Savior, the sun has shown the truth on the bristleback incursion. Tenakth rebels were keeping pens of machines on the other side of the mountains. A sinkhole swallowed them, releasing them into the underground tunnels that led east and out into the Daunt.
So it was an accident. But let us not forget that it was the Karja.
I'm not done. The sinkhole only formed due to your unauthorized blasting in the southern mine, Ulvund. You are responsible for the machine rampage, the workers we lost, the destruction the bristlebacks caused. All of it.
My dear magistrate, has your precious son baked your senses? I would never give such an order without first consulting you.
Evidence says otherwise. Aloy found the shipping manifest in the mine. You skirted the laws of the Sundom, Ulvund. All for a few extra shards.
And you almost drowned your other miners. And sent that oversized tool over there to intimidate a bunch of refugees.
I demand an official investigation. I won't be the victim of some Karja scheme.
Certainly. We'll conduct a thorough inquest into everything. The bristlebacks, the mine, the refugees. Every business deal you ever put your name to.
Well, that's not necessary, is it? What if I just return to the claim?
Oh, well, that would save the crown the cost.
Of course. I'll be on my way as soon as I wrap up some previous commitments, tie up some loose ends. After all, the welfare of Chainscrape's people in a transition like
Nope,
this...
you're leaving right now. Chainscrape will be just fine.
You think she can run this scorched-out forged dump? Ha! Knock yourself out.
Get out.
Oh, don't want you, don't need
You tell him, Petra. Yeah, you fucking. Hey! Oh no. Did you trip? Did you trip?
Mud looks good on you.
Oh. Mama is a bitch.
Sun burns away shadow.
Goes around,
Thank
comes
you
around,
for
huh?
that, Aloy.
Oh, he had it coming.
He
Here,
did.
Please accept this token of gratitude. You've
There
done
ever
the
was an
Sundom
example of someone
my
who didn't have
sanity,
power
a great service.
wanting to do everything to keep that
And I
power.
think we have some matters to discuss.
Guess we do. Not the most pleasant boots to fill, but I'll wear them. All thanks to you, Flame Hair.
Hell yeah. Now we got Petra taking over the village now. That's all.
Okay.
9. Shit, I got a lot. Holy fuck. Need to unlock things. Jump off? Yes, please. I like that. Ammo expert? Yep, we want. Valor on impact. Resonated damage.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it, move it, move it. All girls all over the world. Original King Julian, put the case man. I love how all the girls move their body. And when you move your body, you to move it nice and sweet and sassy, alright? Woman, you're cute, and you don't need no makeup. Original cute body makeup on model. Woman, you're cute, and you don't need no makeup. Original cute body makeup on model. Woman, physically fit, physically fit, physically fit. Woman, physically fit, physically fit, physically fit. Woman, nice, sweet, fantastic. Big your body ocean at the big tight and woman, nice, sweet, energetic. Big your body ocean at the big tight and woman, nice, sweet, fantastic. The ocean at the big Titanic, woman and nice, sweet, fantastic. Picture of the ocean at the big Titanic. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it, move it.
How you doing, Sav? Lovely to see you. Freaks. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Can't complain too much. How you doing? How are you? Love that this is pretty much the whole song and it disrupts everything. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why I got it, to be fair. Why I got it. Okay, so I got Nora Anointed, then I got Nora Champion. Arja Blaze. Ooh. That's quite a nice. I like the color of that outfit, though. All right, but actually, while what? Oh, the strong arm hunter. Are you still streaming tomorrow, hopefully? That's still the plan. Or Strider Razor Tail. Ooh. That ain't happening anytime.
About time he went crawling back to whatever. Damn.
Fire Hunter Bone. I got this one. Yeah, so at the top I've got all my bows. Bottom I've got like other. Got new Well, I can sell stuff too though. I can sell stuff. As long as work doesn't ring my soul, I will be Jesus. What an interesting choice of word.
Power and protection.
That is
What will you choose?
dark. I think I know, but my point is, make my point feel valid. Well, you know, that is the situation, and that is the situation. Why is justified? Right. Two now. So I've done quests in one. So I could do the hideout. And the other side quest I have. And that's all the way over there. I have unlocked that campfire. So I could... Oh, and I got the convoy ambush as well to do. By there. So I could go down and do convoy ambush. Cauldron there. Larger. I think we'll do it in that order. Do the salvager request. Head to the and then head to the eclipse first, and then we'll do the cauldron on the way back if we have time. If we don't, we'll do it next stream. Oh yeah, forget the... Yeah. Wait, can I even get there? I should be able to get there, shouldn't I?
I must be playing some. Taro tries home.
Hand something over.
Built on top of old
Oh, the
salad
fox.
dishes.
Protect the harvest. We can't let it get past us.
Hold on, I need to scan it. I need to scan it. I'm like a bumblebee.
Down it goes.
Right. That is a machine kill. Oh. Oh, unknown. Oh wait, it's the people.
How bad is it? I can walk.
Oh?
Everyone all right?
You saved our lives. More importantly, you saved the harvest we carry. The Utah
Need a haircut, mate.
in your debt.
Jesus.
I am Dain.
You're saying that's a whole harvest?
The red light you see around you has withered most of our crops. What little we carry, we had to collect at the edge of the plains.
So this is Utaru territory?
It is. Our home plain song lies just down the road. I'm afraid you won't see many outlanders like yourself there. My people like to keep to themselves. But if you're lacking weapons or supplies, I know some of them will be willing to trade with you. Here, it's not much, but it's the least I can do to thank you.
I can't take this.
Please, any kindness we seed, we also sow.
Oh, that's a nice line.
Dying, you should go. Tell the others we have the harvest.
Oh God, look at his
And I need a
face.
healer.
Oof.
Right. May the land bloom in your steps.
I should go too.
If you do make it to Plainsong, we share our meals up on the northern dish. Diane's one of the cooks there. I'm sure he could make you some rations worth trading for.
Hey, you know,
I'll try to make my way there if I
put
can.
me some rations. Gotta die. Oh. Gotta get across it. Avoid. Fine, fine, it's fine. Out of here, I'm out of here. Or do I do the cauldron now? Now I've gone the wrong way. I do the cauldron now? That shadows in the... Actually, no, the cauldron might take a while. We'll do that. That'll be the first thing we do tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Fucking off out of there. Oh, shit. Oh.
If I don't find a guy to back up, it'll be like this everywhere.
Nice. I was going to recommend that you hold off doing the cauldron for now.
Been spotted.
I think because from if they're anything like Zero Dawn, they're going to take a while. Hold fire on that.
You're out. It's the Outlander Aloy.
Oh well. My horse! No! Oh, well, my horse is dead.
You feel that?
I mean, put up a fight. Look at that.
My armor.
Kill it. The armor! More fuckers? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Does that mean we're the bad guys? Oh. Rebel one, isn't it? Oh, looks like I'm going for a bit. Definitely on foot. My god, it's a fucking pain, yeah. Unless I get another one and then come back. That too, but they're a lot more challenging this time around, so I recommend getting better armor before doing. Right. Yeah, so I mean, if it's going to be like amped up version of Zero, then it's going to. Oh no, that's a goat. Oh, hey, oh dear. Oh, it's a sheep actually.
I can grab this from my stash later.
Nearly said oh dear. I wonder if I never. Clearly, there's a ridgewood inside a tree, and I can't pick it up. Okay.
Looks like an Utaru shrine. Wonder what it's for.
Purple, purple, purple. Oh, let's go. Not sure of anything specific. So yeah, no, I know. We'll try them another time. Oh, wait, is it the crocodiles? Snapmores, there we go. Yeah. They were a bitch. Kill. To begin, when you first get into the desert, they were a pain. Makes sense they're called Snapmores because. Oh, getting close enough. At least.
This turned into something tasty. These are the coordinates Vezra gave his henchmen in the Daunt. Time to see what the Eclipse are up to.
Oh, brother. Oh, you're dead.
Plasma ammo isn't gonna do much. Those machines look like they've been overridden. I better be careful. There's people here. Utaru. Are they being forced to excavate these ruins? Eclipse. They must be forcing the Utaru to work for them. I need to get into those ruins and find out what they're up to. Count on a pack of scrappers to carve up any salvage.
saving you. What's happening? Oh shit, we got someone with a minigun. Fucking arrows in it. Both making funny noises. Because I've been like tagged. I can't use my focus.
I need this.
You want the ground here? Got you.
Fuck you though. I don't think so, Sunshine.
That's all of them. Now, I need to get into these ruins. Stop whatever this Vezra's doing.
Something tells me that we're not gonna stop it here. We're gonna kind of like delay it, you know? It's gonna be a multi-stage. Yet we have like potions. I hope the Garu got out.
For when I need it.
Bring a gun? Nice. Cool. Alright, sorry if I'm just like constantly pinging. I'm just like trying to find things. I want to miss out on stuff. Hey, right, let's... Look, this was only the outskirts. Houston, we have a problem.
I'll fill up while I can.
Hey, I can help you get in.
Huh? What? Who said that?
Let's talk.
Who's there? Oh, you. Right. What?
You there! I can help you up. It won't open from this side. It's got some kind of special lock.
Anyway, howdy.
Eclipse bastards. Good riddance!
So, Vezra found an actual fortress to hole up in.
Listen. If you're here to stop them, you could sneak in from the upper scaffold. We haven't reinforced all of the southern wall yet. Vezra's holed up on the other side of the pit.
Who are you? And the others?
I'm Yef. All of us are Utaru. The Eclipse have been prowling the borders of Plainsong, snatching up anyone they can. Would have worked me to death if you hadn't shown up.
The others ran off. Will they be okay?
They'll run straight for Plainsong. No guarantees, but they'll probably make it. I'd be more worried about the ones still inside. They'll either be working or penned up.
I'll keep an eye out for them. So the Eclipse abducted you?
Yeah. I was out, exploring a couple weeks ago when they caught me.
Exploring?
Well, more like wandering and looking for scraps. Plainsong isn't such a fun place to be right now. Not much food. Not much to do. Of course, it's 1,000 times better than this cesspool. Next time, I'll stay closer to home.
What you got until
what's waiting for me inside?
you've lost it, innit?
Eclipse goons, killer machines, dangerous weapons from the old ones.
What kind of weapons?
You think they'd tell me? I was lucky to go a day without a beating. The leader's always droning on about wielding the ancient power of death.
That sounds bad. You should probably head back.
And miss my chance to deliver some payback? I want to help.
Then stay here and let me handle the fighting. If I rescue anyone else inside, they'll be grateful to see a friendly face.
Well, luck be with you then. Guess I'll just sit back and enjoy the show.
Yeah, I don't want you getting killed on my watch, buddy. Shadows Reach. Oh, of course it's called Shadows Reach when
Oh, look at all
Rocker.
this. Must have been some battle the old ones fought here.
Lovely evening.
The old ones fought hard here.
Whisper Hunter Bow?
This was under
Ooh.
siege.
Now we're cooking. Weapons. Let's go.
Men of Shed. The blood and sweat of our slaves seed this ancient battle. And soon,
That's my way in.
Under those. Oh no! Don't. Need to yeet it off the fucking cliff.
Quite an operation the Eclipse have here. Time to put an end to it. Machine won't be bothered by acid.
Oh, that would have been so good.
upon this fortress, we construct the foundation of our empire. We, privileged few, will rule over thousands.
Nice. Well, that went bad. That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. Got a bit hairy there for a second, but it wasn't. I don't know a bit.
Keep this for a cook.
I could shoot. I know I could shoot payloads and stuff. Weak against lightning.
Now for their leader. Those speakers have to be connected to a power source somewhere. Probably inside that big structure. But that's where I'll find him.
Probably. It's normally in big buildings you find. There's a hole in the floor there.
I'll find a use for you.
Die. I've already searched it. Couple of crates I've seen.
And we won't stop with Meridian. The known world will tremble as our shadow stretches across the land.
Okay. Like crate. Okay, here we go. Time to open the door. Time to play the game, baby.
Utaru prisoners.
Outlander?
Who is I gotta let them out.
Help us!
Calm down, everyone. I'm gonna set you free. Hang tight. I'll get you out of there. You're safe now. Get as far from here as you can.
But what will you do?
Finish the
this mess.
fight.
Alone? That's certain death.
Sure. For the bad guys. All of you, find a place to hide while I finish this. Now, to take care of Vezra.
Okay, right. I'm gonna hold fire here a minute. I need to actually get up and stretch and stuff, so very quickly, and then we will wrap this up. Back. So, give me 2 seconds. Oh, standard. Try again. am I rushing it now? Oh, fucking hell. My arm cut off. Oh. For freedom! Ah. What the fuck was that?
Who got this?
Oh my god, I think he's actually won.
I made a comeback.
Oh my god.
And the winner is... Guys, you know what to do. Spam GGs. No!
Oh my god, he did.
Comeback of all comebacks.
And it was the coin balance that helped you. GG, man. GG.
Dude.
I went from last to first.
You know, Jack said there was going to be a comeback story, but it wasn't me.
I'm gonna clip this on Twitch.
Yeah, you go for it, buddy.
I'll read this. Yoshi comes in first, a truly spectacular performance. If I had to guess, your winning strategy was involved.
Oh. Did anyone see that? No? No? Okay. Which clip is that? That was from last night. So it's streamer.help. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a bot called streamer.help, which I found, like 6 months ago. Someone tweeted about it saying, this is fine. This is totally fine. I'm not going to die. No. I refuse. Me and my mouth. Oh, on Ski Craze, you probably never realized it, but because it's linear and you hit the switch before you get to the exit. Oh, I'm back. For the last 10-20 minutes or so, and then back to the ads as well, everybody. Berries? No. Oh, here we go.
The arts of the old ones are mine alone to command.
By mastering them, I will secure our future.
Maybe you should secure your hideout first.
The savior of Marie.
How kind of you.
Shut up, Vezra. It's over.
Hardly. You may have driven us from the Sundom, but now is the time for revenge.
I can turn the tables. That Ravager isn't gonna make things easy. I gotta take it out, fast.
Can you kindly scan it, please? Actually, probably fire. He's probably. Oh no, your helmet's gone. Get out of here, bitch.
What I wouldn't give to watch you die.
You'd have to try a lot harder for that.
Not with this. We'll both be gone in an instant.
Time to go. Oh, he's dead. Technically. That's...
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah, he ain't coming out of that.
I hoped you just beat the snot out of these bastards, but this is beautiful.
The others. I told them to hide. Are they...
Everyone's okay. They all found a safe place. I figure we'll camp out here until we get our strength back up. Then I'll take everyone back to Plainsong.
Thanks, Yef.
Listen, sometimes during his ramblings, Vezra mentioned his former comrades. Said they'd arrive any day now. Are we safe?
I don't know. But I intend to find out. It looks like Vezra spent some time in here.
Loyal
Let's take a look
Eclipse.
around.
If you're
If
seeing
there's any more
this,
Eclipse we need to worry about.
it means you've left the Sundom in search of something to follow. Your journey is almost over. Follow the sun beyond the gates of barren light. And bask in the gloam of future conquest. A new empire awaits.
I've seen this before. I think that's the last of them.
I left word in the Daunt. If the others are still alive, they'll find it and try to join me here.
Not if I take them first, which I did.
5 tribes. 5 bombs. That's what I need. With their capitals in ruins, they will have no choice but to submit to my rule.
I'll say this for Vezra. He dreamed big. Guess that's all I need to know. I should talk to Yef. Let him know what I found.
A wall. Probably another way into it.
What did you find?
Vezra's comrades are dead. The Utaru have nothing to fear from the Eclipse anymore. And neither does the rest of the world.
Well then. Can't imagine there's anything a scrawny forager like me could ever do for someone like you, but if you ever need a favor, you can find us in Plainsong. I hope you make it there.
Do, buddy. We'll do. Shadow in the wet. Gotta be like a door or something. Or have I literally missed it now because thing fucking exploded? Oh well, that's a There's any other path? I'll just leave. The potion. Campfire, which tried taking me, but I take an Aloy, but no stir. Yeah, I've tried a little bit out of it now. Fucking collapse the fucking building on. Oh, cool. Alright. There. I got skill points. Okay, cool. What are we going to... Regen. Oh, already recover health sooner when you are dangerously wounded below 25%. I think I'm okay. Health tear. I got another bow, didn't I? Spur hunter bow. Oh, extra stealth damage. Oh, that's nice. Fast travel to... Fast travel back to Barren Light, I think. See if we can upgrade. Then we'll call it there.
Aloy, I was hoping I'd see you around.
Okay. Oh yeah, we've also got the towers as well. Oh yeah, Whisper. A slicing shredder gauntlet. I mean, I got a leap slasher circulator, so I can definitely buy it. A casual weapon that uses tear ammo to slice enemies. Hold longer. Each catch charges the shredder and increases its... Don't want to buy anything just because I... don't want to buy something and then immediately get it like 10 minutes later. Probably not, actually. Green shine fragment. Oh, but I can get. I can get the next one though. Find more long legs. This is more elemental. Just how the hunter. Why grab potions? Need another. I need for a hunter arrow. I need another raccoon hide. Lizard bone and a goose feather. Vulture feather. Ocean pipe. Need another squirrel.
Thanks, Red. Need anything else?
Well, I think that's it for us. Gonna be it for tonight. Call it. Level 13, and we've done 8 hours of the game. Oh. So yeah, so next stream, probably tomorrow, we'll do the convoy ambush, do that, and then turn that in. And then press more with the story. Probably we'll head down Death's Door, go to the coordinates recovered from the... Continue that for a little bit. And then maybe do a cauldron. If we're feeling up for if it's like the right level. That's the plan. I got stuff to sell as well, actually. Cool, but yeah, hold it there. I'm just gonna wrap up and end for tonight. Late, so I need to get off and get ready for bed and stuff. I'll work tomorrow, so I will do that. Hope everyone has a great rest of their night, or day, or evening, wherever you may be. For part 3, part 4, of Horizon Forbidden West. See maybe if you can track. Well, we probably won't track down Silence. See what the Spire Coordinates tell us. But yeah, everyone, have a good night, and I will see you.